It all started one evening in Madrid, when rumors spread that Irina and Georgina had crossed paths during a private event. The two women, known for their beauty, elegance, and completely different personalities, faced each other for the first time since Ronaldo had built a new life. Irina had carried with her years of pain, unanswered questions, and a quiet resentment that had never really disappeared. Georgina, on the other hand, had grown into the role of Ronaldo's partner, his anchor, and the center of his family life. Their meeting was tense from the very beginning. Irina did not waste time. She sat across from Georgina, looked her straight in the eye, and spoke in a tone that mixed both pride and desperation. "You have what I once dreamed of," she began. "You have the man I loved, the family I thought I would have, the future I once believed belonged to me." For a moment, Georgina didn't respond. She simply listened, her expression calm but distant. Then Irina leaned closer and delivered the shocking statement. "I want to give you $20 million. Take it. Consider it my way of letting go, my way of buying peace between us." It was a strange proposal, one that carried a mix of generosity, revenge, and an attempt at closure. The number itself was staggering, and anyone in Georgina's position could have been tempted. $20 million was not just money, it was freedom, security, and power. But Georgina's reply cut through the air like a knife. Without hesitation, she said, "No, I don't want your money. Ronaldo is my everything. He is not for sale, and neither is my love for him." Those words hit Irina harder than she expected. For a woman who had lived her life in the glamorous world of fashion, where money and power often dictated relationships, Georgina's rejection was both confusing and humiliating. But it also revealed something Irina had not truly understood. Georgina was not with Ronaldo for wealth, fame, or status. She was with him because of love, pure and simple, something Irina perhaps never truly believed in. The story quickly spiraled into something bigger. Friends close to Ronaldo revealed that when he heard about Irina's offer, he was both shocked and saddened. He had once loved Irina deeply, and the fact that their history had turned into such bitterness was painful. At the same time, he felt an overwhelming pride in Georgina. Her refusal of the money was proof that she stood by him not for fortune, but for love. But the situation didn't end there. Irina's offer of $20 million was not just about Georgina. It was a reflection of her own struggle, her attempt to make sense of the past. After leaving Ronaldo, she had entered other relationships, found success in her career, and lived a glamorous life. But deep inside, there was always a shadow, a reminder of what she had lost. That money was her way of releasing herself from that shadow, but Georgina's rejection left her with no choice but to confront her feelings without shortcuts. For Georgina, the refusal was natural. She had already built a life with Ronaldo, raising children, enduring criticism, and standing by him during both triumphs and scandals. Money was never the glue that held their relationship together. In fact, rejecting Irina's offer only strengthened her bond with Ronaldo. To her, love was priceless, and no amount of wealth could replace the connection they shared. And the days that followed, tabloids exploded with headlines. Irina offers $20 million to Georgina. Georgina rejects $1 million peace treaty. Ronaldo caught between past and present loves. The media painted it as a battle of pride, wealth, and loyalty. Fans around the world debated furiously, some accusing Irina of being manipulative, others praising Georgina for her strong stance. Ronaldo himself remained mostly silent, choosing instead to show the world his love for Georgina by posting heartfelt family photos and tender words about their life together. Behind the scenes, though, the tension was real. Friends who witnessed the exchange said Irina left the meeting in tears, her pride wounded, her heart heavier than before. Georgina, on the other hand, walked away with her head held high, but even she knew the encounter was more than just about money. It was about love, trust, and the ghosts of Ronaldo's past that still tried to haunt their present. And this is how one meeting, one conversation, and one bold refusal became a defining moment in the love story of Cristiano Ronaldo and Georgina Rodríguez. A $20 million test of loyalty that proved, once again, that love cannot be bought, and that true devotion has no price tag. When the news of Irina's shocking offer spread, Cristiano Ronaldo was in the middle of training with his team. He had not expected to hear anything so bizarre, so personal, so unsettling. For years, he had tried to bury the past, to protect Georgina from unnecessary pain, and to keep his focus on family and football. But Irina's sudden decision to reappear with an astronomical offer of $20 million forced him to relive memories he thought were gone forever. He sat quietly in his home later that evening, staring out the window at the lights of Madrid, his mind heavy with thoughts. He remembered the first time he met Irina. She was dazzling, elegant, the kind of woman who could turn heads in any room she entered. Back then, Ronaldo was still a man balancing fame with loneliness, someone who longed for affection but feared betrayal. Irina gave him a sense of stability, or at least that's what he believed at the time. Their years together were filled with red carpet appearances, photographs in glossy magazines, and a relationship that seemed perfect from the outside. But behind closed doors, their love was fragile, built on passion but lacking the quiet trust that lasts forever. He remembered their arguments, how Irina often felt ignored because of his dedication to football, how he struggled to balance the demands of being the world's most famous athlete with the needs of a relationship. Eventually, it all fell apart. Ronaldo knew it was inevitable, and though the breakup was painful, he carried no hatred toward her. He had moved on, and life had given him Georgina, a woman who understood him in ways he never thought possible. Georgina was different. She met him not as a superstar, but as a man. Their love began quietly, not in the spotlight, but in the simple moments. Conversations, walks, laughter that wasn't staged for cameras. She didn't fall in love with his fame. She fell in love with his soul. That was what made Irina's offer so ridiculous in his eyes. He knew Georgina would never accept money to step aside, nor did she need validation from Irina. Still, the fact that Irina felt the need to put such an amount on the table made Ronaldo wonder, what was she truly trying to buy? Forgiveness? Closure? Or was it a final attempt to remind Georgina that she, too, once held his heart? Meanwhile, Georgina herself was processing the encounter in her own way. She had been polite, firm, and unshaken during her meeting with Irina. But in the privacy of her room, she replayed every word, every look, every emotion. Irina's eyes had carried more than pride. They carried sorrow, regret, and an ache that no amount of money could cure. Georgina felt a flicker of sympathy, but she refused to let it soften her decision. She loved Ronaldo with a loyalty that could not be bought. The money meant nothing to her. She already had what was priceless: his love and the family they had built together. The media storm was growing, however. Across Europe and beyond, headlines screamed about Irina's gesture. Some newspapers painted her as desperate, others as noble. Some commentators suggested it was an act of generosity, a way to settle past wounds. Others claimed it was an act of arrogance, a way to show power. But what mattered most was the way it touched Ronaldo's fans. Millions took to social media, praising Georgina's strength. They called her a queen, a woman who could not be shaken by wealth or tempted by vanity. Her refusal became a symbol of true love. Irina, however, was drowning in a different kind of attention. Everywhere she went, people whispered, pointed, speculated. She had spent her life controlling her image, presenting herself as untouchable, flawless. But now she was painted as vulnerable, even defeated. And for the first time, she couldn't escape it. In her private moments, she cried, not because Georgina rejected the money, but because she realized that she had tried to solve a matter of the heart with money, and that was impossible. Ronaldo, despite his anger at the situation, reached out to Irina privately. He sent her a message, short but sincere. "Irina, I wish you peace, but please don't involve Georgina in this again. Our past is ours. Let it rest." He didn't write it out of hatred, but out of respect for the years they had shared. Irina read the message in silence, her heart breaking a little more. She realized that no matter what she did, Ronaldo's heart was no longer hers to touch. That night, Georgina sat beside Ronaldo, her hand resting gently on his. He looked at her, his eyes heavy but filled with love. "You know why I love you?" he whispered. "Because nothing in this world can move you. Not money, not fame, not temptation. You are strong, Georgina, stronger than I ever imagined. And I don't want you to think for one second that Irina's shadow can affect what we have." Georgina smiled softly and leaned her head against his shoulder. "I don't need anything else," she replied. "You and the children are everything. Let the world talk. We know the truth." In that moment, Ronaldo felt a wave of relief. He knew he was lucky. Lucky to have found a woman who could withstand the storms that fame and fortune brought into his life. Lucky to have a partner who loved him not for his name, but for his heart. The $20 million was nothing compared to the priceless love he had received from Georgina. But outside their quiet home, the storm continued to rage. Paparazzi followed Irina relentlessly, hoping for a reaction. Journalists dug into her life, questioning her motives. Rumors spread that she had acted out of bitterness. Others said it was guilt. The truth, however, was simpler. Irina was a woman who had once loved deeply, who had lost, and who could not find peace until she faced the woman who now held the heart she once cherished. And so, the story of Irina's $20 million offer was not just about money, pride, or scandal. It was about love in its purest and rawest form, the kind that cannot be bought, the kind that cannot be silenced, the kind that endures through pain, temptation, and history. It was about Ronaldo, Georgina, and the proof that true love stands firm against all storms, no matter how powerful they appear. The days following Irina's shocking encounter with Georgina became a whirlwind of emotion and speculation. For Cristiano Ronaldo, life carried on with the rhythm of training, family time, and endless obligations. But deep down he knew that something had shifted. The ghosts of his past had found their way back into his present, uninvited and unsettling. He was a man used to controlling the pitch, controlling his destiny, but matters of the heart had always been far more complicated. For Georgina, the incident had left an unshakable echo. Though she had stood strong in front of Irina, her heart carried questions she did not voice aloud. Why had Irina chosen that moment to come forward? Why the money? Why 20 million? A number so absurd it almost felt symbolic rather than practical. Georgina tried to push the thoughts away, but at night, when the world was quiet, she couldn't help but wonder what Irina truly felt. Was it bitterness? Was it guilt? Or was it simply a desperate act from a woman who had never fully healed? Meanwhile, Irina herself was retreating into silence. After her offer was rejected, she disappeared from public view. No interviews, no events, no statements. But silence, in the world of fame, only makes the noise louder. Reporters camped outside her residence, cameras waiting to capture her first appearance. Every photo, every small gesture became a headline. Some painted her as heartbroken, others as manipulative. But no one truly knew what Irina felt in her soul during those lonely nights when the lights of the city glowed but offered no comfort. In her private thoughts, Irina replayed everything. Her years with Ronaldo, the laughter they once shared, the trips, the moments of passion, and the gradual collapse of it all. She remembered the day it ended, the hollow silence between them, the realization that they no longer moved in harmony. She had built walls of pride to protect herself, told the world she was fine, moved on with other relationships, other projects, other dreams. Yet deep inside, there had always been unfinished business. That was why she had approached Georgina, not to insult her, not even to challenge her, but to close a door that had remained open far too long. The 20 million was not about money. It was about weight, about the burden she carried and her desperate attempt to let it go. But Georgina's refusal had shattered that plan. Now Irina felt emptier than before, and in that emptiness, she began to realize that what she had been searching for was not Georgina's approval, nor Ronaldo's acknowledgement. It was her own acceptance of the past. Something money could never buy. Ronaldo, sensing the lingering tension in the air, decided to take Georgina and the children away for a few days. He wanted to escape the headlines, the flashing cameras, and the questions that followed them everywhere. They retreated to a private villa by the sea, where the sound of waves drowned out the noise of the world. There, away from the chaos, Ronaldo watched Georgina with the children, her laughter carrying across the sand, her love shining brighter than the sun. In those moments, he felt anchored again. Nothing, no scandal, no past relationship, no absurd offer, could take away what they had built together. One evening, as the sun sank into the horizon, Ronaldo sat with Georgina on the terrace. The sea breeze was gentle, and the children had already gone to bed. He looked at her, his eyes soft but serious. "Do you ever doubt me?" he asked quietly. Georgina turned to him, surprised by the question. "Why would I doubt you?" she replied. Ronaldo hesitated for a moment, then sighed. "Because of her, because of the past. Sometimes I worry that these things follow me, that they might hurt you." Georgina shook her head firmly. "Cristiano, I don't care about the past. Everyone has a history. What matters is what we have now. I don't want her money. I don't want her approval. I don't want anything from her. I only want you, and nothing she does can change that." Her words sank into him like medicine for an old wound. He leaned in, kissed her hand, and whispered, "Then I will never let you doubt us again." In that vow, Ronaldo felt a renewed strength. He knew there would always be noise around him, but as long as Georgina stood by his side, He could endure anything. But the world wasn't ready to let the story go. Rumors continued to swirl. Some claimed that Irina still had feelings for Ronaldo, that the money was an attempt to buy her way back into his life. Others speculated that she was making peace, trying to give Georgina something she could never accept. Still others whispered darker theories, that Irina wanted to test Georgina to see if she could be tempted to expose cracks in her loyalty. The truth remained locked inside Irina's heart, hidden from everyone, even those closest to her. For Ronaldo and Georgina, however, the real truth was simple. Their love had been tested and it had held firm. The rejection of $20 million had become a symbol, not just for them, but for everyone watching. It was proof that love, real love, is never about wealth or power. It is about loyalty, about choosing one person over all else, about standing strong when temptation comes knocking. Irina's name would eventually fade from the headlines, as all stories do. But in the quiet corners of her heart, she carried the lesson of that painful chapter. Money could never erase the past. Closure could not be bought. And love, once lost, could never be reclaimed with numbers on a check. For Georgina, the experience only strengthened her. She had faced Irina's challenge and stood firm. She had proven not just to Ronaldo, but to the world, that her love was unshakable. And in that strength, Ronaldo found peace, comfort, and the certainty that no amount of scandal could ever break what they had built. And so, life moved forward. The storm began to settle, but the memory of it remained. A reminder that true love will always be tested, and only those with hearts unshaken will endure. For Ronaldo and Georgina, it was another chapter in their extraordinary story, one that would be told for years to come, not because of the money involved, but because of the courage to say no, the loyalty to stand firm, and the love that proved priceless in a world obsessed with price tags.